You'll discover the nootropic benefits of methylene blue. This is an update to a video I made on methylene blue several years ago. You will learn why we use methylene blue as a nootropic supplement. You'll learn what it is, how much to use at the recommended methylene blue dosage, how many times per day to use methylene blue, the potential side effects of this supplement, and the best place to buy methylene blue. So, why should you listen to this video about methylene blue? Well, here's why. Methylene blue is used as a nootropic to enhance memory, mood, and longevity. It improves mitochondrial function and respiration in the brain, positively impacting memory and mood. Methylene blue shows promise in treating neurological disorders such as mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's disease. Methylene blue acts as an antioxidant. It increases brain cell lifespan and positively affects serotonin and norepinephrine levels, which can help with anxiety, depression, and memory. All of that will be covered in this video about methylene blue. So, if you find this video useful, please subscribe to this channel before we go any further. So, let's get started and learn more about methylene blue. Methylene blue was first synthesized in 1876 by German chemist Heinrich Caro at BASF as an aniline-based dye for cotton staining. In 1891, German physician and Nobel Prize recipient Paul Ehrlich pioneered the use of methylene blue in the treatment of malaria. Ehrlich discovered that methylene blue, when it was injected to animals in the lab, it would quickly concentrate in the brain and had an uncanny ability to selectively target diseased tissues in the body. It was Ehrlich who coined the term magic bullet for this unique action displayed by methylene blue, and that term is still in use today. Methylene blue is currently being studied as a potential therapy for mild cognitive impairment, for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, and other neurodegenerative disorders, all sharing a common problem with mitochondrial function. Methylene blue has also been used to treat dementia, cancer chemotherapy, malaria, urinary tract infections, cyanide and carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, as a nootropic, methylene blue is used to enhance mitochondrial function, increase cerebral blood flow, and it acts as an antidepressant. Methylene blue boosts brain health and function in several ways, but two in particular stand out. First, methylene blue improves memory. Unlike other nootropics, which often work by increasing neurotransmitter synthesis and neural signaling, methylene blue improves memory by increasing brain cell respiration, or how brain cells utilize oxygen. Studies show dramatic increases in cellular oxygen consumption and glucose uptake when using methylene blue. It increases cerebral metabolic rate through increased activity in the mitochondrial electron transport chain. Methylene blue functions as an alternative electron carrier in the electron transport chain in mitochondria. It accepts electrons from NADH and transfers them to cytochrome C. Cytochrome C is a component of the electron transport chain in mitochondria, playing a role in apoptosis and is an antioxidant. Methylene blue also stimulates glucose metabolism. Taken together, increases in cytochrome C and glucose uptake means that methylene blue elevates oxygen consumption, which helps glucose increase adenosine triphosphate production. Increases in ATP production provides more cellular energy for better overall brain function, including cognition, mood, and memory. And then second, methylene blue is an antioxidant. It has a unique mechanism of action that is fundamentally different from traditional antioxidants. During cellular respiration, the first free radical formed inside a cell is superoxide, or O2. Methylene blue binds to superoxide and reduces it to water. It stops the oxidative cascade at its very beginning, before it gets a chance to do any damage. So think of methylene blue as having a unique dual property. First, it increases cellular energy production, which normally leads to oxidative stress. And then second, it eliminates this oxidative stress, making it a metabolic enhancer and an antioxidant. Researchers tested methylene blue in animal models of neurological diseases. First, researchers used rotenone, which is a potent pesticide, which causes severe dopamine depletion in parts of the brain associated with Parkinson's. Methylene blue rescued brain cell mitochondria from the damaging effects of this pesticide by donating electrons in the electron transport chain broken by this pesticide. Essentially bypassing the broken transport chain with donated electrons as an alternative electron carrier. Methylene blue also countered cerebral ischemic reperfusion damage, the tissue damage which is caused when blood supply returns to tissue after a lack of oxygen, as can occur with traumatic brain injury. Methylene blue accomplished this by rerouting mitochondrial electron transfer. This means that methylene blue dramatically countered the behavioral, neurochemical, and neuropathological impairment found in Parkinson's disease. Low-dose methylene blue supplementation provides memory-enhancing effects in animals and humans. It works as an antidepressant, is anti-aging. It helps dementia, Huntington's, and Alzheimer's. Methylene blue increases low blood pressure. It improves cognition in healthy people. It boosts mitochondrial function. It is antimicrobial. It can even eliminate fear and even slow skin aging. And methylene blue boosts acetylcholine. Research shows that methylene blue is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor with a preference for muscarinic acetylcholine receptors, meaning that methylene blue prevents the breakdown of acetylcholine and makes it more available in your brain. Methylene blue is also an antidepressant. Methylene blue is a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. It inhibits MAO-A more than MAO-B, but inhibits both at large doses. One study in 1987 showed that 15 milligrams per day of methylene blue was a potent antidepressant in those with severe depression. 15 milligrams, that's not much. Another study with 31 bipolar patients compared 300 milligrams per day of methylene blue with 15 milligrams per day. The patients were also on lithium treatment. The study showed that the 300 milligram dose of methylene blue was a useful addition to lithium in long-term treatment of manic depressive psychosis, and patients were significantly less depressed. Methylene blue also resists Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia are associated with the buildup of the protein tau, and patients were significantly less depressed. Methylene blue also resists Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia are associated with the buildup of the protein tau. Clinical trials show that methylene blue inhibits tau formation and is under consideration as a treatment for Alzheimer's. Methylene blue has an inhibitory action on cGMP pathway and affects other molecular events closely related to the progression of Alzheimer's. Methylene blue boosts neuron resistance to the formation of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, and it helps repair impairments in mitochondrial function and cellular metabolism. Research also shows that choline, serotonin, and glutamate systems all play important roles in the development of Alzheimer's and other cognitive disorders. Methylene blue provides beneficial effects in mediating these pathways. This is particularly significant because most existing treatments for Alzheimer's can only prevent the disease before it is diagnosed. But methylene blue shows promise in delaying the effects of Alzheimer's and dementia after it is diagnosed. And methylene blue is anti-aging. Research shows that methylene blue is an effective anti-aging nootropic. It increases mitochondrial complex 4 by 30%. It enhances cellular oxygen consumption by 37 to 70%. It increases heme synthesis. It reverses premature senescence caused by hydrogen peroxide and cadmium. Methylene blue is considered a redox agent, meaning it cycles between oxidized and reduced forms. This cycling by methylene blue helps block oxidant production in brain cell mitochondria. Mitochondrial complex 4 is the last enzyme in the respiratory electron transport chain of mitochondria, the last step in synthesizing ATP, your cellular and mitochondrial source of energy. Iron, or heme, is an essential element and participates in oxygen transport, DNA synthesis, and electron transport. Heme synthesis begins in mitochondria. Every cell requires heme to function properly. Senescence, or biological aging, is the gradual deterioration of cellular function and is caused by telomere shortening that triggers DNA damage in response to reactive oxygen species, hydrogen peroxide, cadmium, and other toxins. Methylene blue helps prevent premature senescence or premature cell death. And methylene blue improves memory. Animal studies have shown that a single low dose of methylene blue enhances long-term contextual memory. This type of memory is the conscious recall of the source and circumstances of a specific memory. Other studies show that methylene blue in low doses, taken after the event, helps memory retention of the event. A study done with rats revealed why this works. In this study, rats received 1 milligram per kilogram of methylene blue post-training for 3 days. The researchers then measured cytochrome C oxidation in participants' brains. The idea was to determine if an increase in metabolic energy was behind the memory-enhancing qualities of methylene blue. The study found that in the methylene blue-treated group, brain cytochrome oxidase activity was 70% higher than in the placebo-treated group. The findings suggest that repeated post-training supplementation of methylene blue improves memory consolidation. And this memory boost is due to the increased metabolic capacity in brain regions that require more energy during discrimination learning. Methylene blue as a nootropic will likely feel different from any other supplement you've ever tried. When reading or studying, once you're done, you should feel like you fully understand the subject material, and you'll be able to use what you learned in the future. Methylene blue seems to facilitate a full understanding of something on the first try. Many neurohackers report the biggest nootropic effect they experience with methylene blue is after-the-fact learning. You take in the information, and it's like your brain sorts through the material, then stores it in a form that you can easily access later on. Methylene blue has this uncanny ability to rewire your brain to forget about any negative associations you have of a situation, and only retains the positive aspects of that memory. In some report that methylene blue makes you feel young again. It eliminates social anxiety. You'll feel focused and more confident. Workouts seem easier because you have more energy. Your mitochondria are energized, and you may find that recovery from workouts is better. Methylene blue helps eliminate stress, so you have more energy in any situation with a relaxed state of mind. And one recurring theme from many is improved sleep while using methylene blue. Research into methylene blue for its therapeutic value goes back to the late 1800s, but it's only in the last couple of decades that scientists have been able to decode exactly how methylene blue works in the brain, all the way down to the molecular level in mitochondria. A study in 2017 found that Alzheimer's disease could be caused by more than the accumulation of amyloid beta in the brain. Scientists looked into the two main components that produces energy in cells. Glycolysis is the mechanism used to convert glucose into fuel within mitochondria. Creating this fuel in mitochondria uses oxygen in a process called mitochondrial respiration. The researchers found that as the brain ages, mitochondrial metabolism deteriorates, resulting in a reduction in the molecules needed for energy production, and possibly the main culprit behind many diseases, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. A study conducted at Children's Hospital Oakland Research Institute may have found the solution to this mitochondrial energy problem in brain cells. The researchers found that methylene blue can prevent or slow the decline of mitochondrial function. One of the key aspects of Alzheimer's is mitochondrial dysfunction, specifically complex 4 dysfunction, and this is where methylene blue steps in. The study found that methylene blue enhances complex 4 in mitochondria. It increases oxygen consumption, and it reverses premature cell death. The researchers concluded that methylene blue may be useful to delay mitochondrial dysfunction with aging and the decrease in complex 4 in Alzheimer's disease. Methylene blue also improves memory. 26 healthy volunteers aged 22 to 62 participated in a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled clinical trial. The purpose of the study was to measure the effects of methylene blue on working memory and sustained attention. The study results showed that a single low dose of methylene blue resulted in an increase in short-term memory ability in an area of the brain associated with the senses and visual processing. Timothy Duong, PhD, or Dr. Timothy Duong, the study author, concluded methylene blue showed promise in healthy aging, cognitive impairment, dementia, and other conditions that might benefit from drug-induced memory enhancement. Another study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry tested fear extinction, or the elimination of fear, and contextual memory. Both are forms of long-term memory. In this study, participants received either methylene blue or a placebo after being placed in a small dark chamber for a couple of minutes to address their fear. 1 month later, participants that had used methylene blue had less retained fear than those given a placebo. The study authors concluded, and I quote, "Methylene blue enhances memory and the retention of fear extinction," unquote. And methylene blue helps bipolar disorder. Increasing evidence shows that bipolar disorder may be a progressive condition. Dealing with bipolar symptoms long-term results in deterioration of the cortex and less gray matter. A study at Dalhousie University in Halifax compared the effectiveness of lamotrigine, or Lamictal, along with daily supplementation of either 195 milligrams or 15 milligrams of methylene blue in patients with bipolar disorder. The patients took a dose of Lamictal, or lamotrigine, and either 195 milligrams or 15 milligrams of methylene blue for 3 months. Then they switched to the other dose for 3 months. The team found that bipolar patients had reduced depression and anxiety when taking the higher dose of methylene blue compared to when they were using the lower dose. Several bipolar patients in this study chose to continue using methylene blue after the study concluded. The recommended safe dose based on clinical studies with animals and humans ranges from zero point 0.5 to 4 milligrams per kilogram, so 90 kilograms or 200-pound body weight translates to 45 to 360 milligrams of methylene blue. 45 milligrams of methylene blue is a safe starting dose, but 360 milligrams of methylene blue is much too high in my opinion, even if you're 200 pounds. The bottom line is there's no true recommended dose for methylene blue. My recommendation is to start with the lowest dose of 0.5 milligrams per kilogram and see how you react. Methylene blue is water soluble, so you don't need to take it with a meal or a healthy fat like some nootropics. Methylene blue has a half-life of about 5 hours, so you can use it twice a day. Methylene blue is famous for turning urine blue, but most neurohackers report your urine will only stain blue at doses roughly exceeding 500 micrograms. Some recommend preventing blue urine by using ascorbic acid about 3 hours before using methylene blue. Methylene blue is also available as a doctor-administered injection for therapeutic use, typically used to treat diseases like malaria or with anti-cancer therapy. Methylene blue shows a hermetic dose response with opposite effects at low and high doses. In other words, lower doses of methylene blue work well as a nootropic, but high doses do not because methylene blue can potentially steal electrons away from the electron transport chain, disrupting redox balance and acting as a pro-oxidant instead of an antioxidant. Adverse effects of methylene blue also come from chemical impurities. Even pharmaceutical-grade methylene blue can contain impurities like arsenic, aluminum, cadmium, mercury, and lead. So at low doses, these contaminants are not that big of a problem, but higher doses will result in the accumulation of these toxins in your cells. Now, side effects are rare with methylene blue when doses are under 2 milligrams per kilogram, but can include stomach pain, chest pain, dizziness, headache, sweating, confusion, high blood pressure, shortness of breath, accelerated heartbeat, tremors, skin turning blue, urine turning blue or green, reduction of red blood cells, or jaundice, but only reported in infants. Monoamine oxidase inhibition becomes a big problem at around 2 milligrams per kilogram of methylene blue. So if you're using antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications that affect serotonin, you should not use methylene blue. This includes selective SSRIs and MAOIs, or monoamine oxidase inhibitors, like citalopram and escitalopram and fluoxetine and sertraline and Wellbutrin and others. Do not use methylene blue if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you're dealing with any type of renal impairment. Methylene blue is sold as a liquid and in crystalline powder form. Industrial-grade and chemical-grade methylene blue is sold as a dye or a stain and can consist of more than 8 to 11% of various contaminants and should not be used as a nootropic. Only pharmaceutical-grade or USP-grade methylene blue should be used as a nootropic. Ask for a certificate of analysis which should include the amount of contaminants like arsenic, aluminum, cadmium, mercury, and lead. I recommend CZTL methylene blue. Due to the robust testing programs, you'll find a link to CZTL's store in the notes section below this video. CZTL ships in 1-gram containers of powder with dosage and mixing instructions in each shipment, along with a certificate of analysis verifying the purity of the methylene blue you get from them. So that's my report on methylene blue. If you want to see links to the studies I talked about, go to my website, Nootropics Expert, and search for methylene blue, or click on the link below in the notes section of this video. Once you're at my website, Nootropics Expert, you'll find a full transcript of this video. And you'll also find dozens of articles on all the well-known nootropics over on Nootropics Expert. Now, if you haven't already, download your free copy of Secrets of the Optimized Brain. It's nearly 100 pages and contains details on 92 of the most popular nootropics used today. Did I mention it's free? And it's finally available, the second edition of my book, Head First, The Complete Guide to Healing and Optimizing Your Brain with Nootropic Supplements. Head First, the second edition, is 962 pages and is available in hardcover, paperback, or for iPad or Kindle. You can get your copy at any major bookseller, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, Apple Books, Walmart, and others. You will find a link to these stores down below in the notes section of this video. So get your copy today.